Enjoy the class.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our burlap wreath class. Today we're going to be making kind of a fall burlap wreath, but if you're already ready for the winter and want to skip through, you can go ahead and make this in some winter colors or some things like that too. So my name's Megan and I work for Michaels, and I am excited to be able to show you this craft that I think can be done in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So since this class is only 1 hour, we are going to do a little bit of TV magic and jump ahead a few steps so that you get the whole entire project and you can see exactly what we're doing. Remember that this video will be available on Monday on our Michael's YouTube channel, and you can come back if you get lost or if you need more time, and you can watch that video and see all those tips and tricks and things that we're doing and make sure that your wreath turns out to be beautiful. So let me know, those of you who are with me in the chat, let me know if you are someone who is Thanksgiving first and you will not decorate for Christmas until after Thanksgiving, or if you are someone who is it's time. November 1st equals Christmas. So let me know in the chat if you are very strict about your rules. No decorating for Christmas until after Thanksgiving, or if you are willing to decorate early. So I'm just curious. Those of you who want to participate in the chat, let me know how you're feeling about that. So far, we have a Thanksgiving and a Thanksgiving. So I'm glad that we're choosing to do a Thanksgiving wreath today to kind of give us one more holiday in between the two. Always. Cool. All right, let's switch over to the other camera and I'm going to show you some of the supplies that we're going to be using today. So the first thing that you'll notice is this 18-inch wire wreath. So this wire wreath is great. You'll notice it has 4 different rings. It has 9 different sections, and it makes for a very nice size wreath. It is the size of the wreath that you saw behind me, and definitely the ones that you saw on the pictures for this class. I'm going to be using some wired ribbon. So anything that you find that is 2.5 inches wide is usually a really good ribbon for this particular project. If you have something smaller that's laying around that you really like, we can make that work too. But I recommend something wired for sure to make your bow. And then something that's 2.5 inches is usually what works best for me in this project. You're definitely going to want some burlap. So I recommend a roll of burlap, and this roll of burlap has 30 feet on it. It's the loose weave. There is also a tighter weave, so it depends on your preference of burlap if you want something a little bit tighter or if you're okay with being a little bit looser. Just know that the tighter weave doesn't come with 30 feet. So the measurements you might want to do a little bit smaller so that you can fit more pieces of this. I do recommend 2 rolls regardless. So even if you want to mix and match and do one tight and one loose, you can do that. But I do recommend 2 rolls. It'll take exactly 1 roll to fill the wreath with burlap. But then I want to show you another style where we can kind of come back through and polish some things up with some extra garland. So I recommend 2 rolls of this for sure. And then the other things that I put onto the list are kind of optional, but there are some poly burlap mesh colors. So if you want to pop a color for autumn or for Thanksgiving and you want to pop some oranges or some blues or some yellows or some of those kind of fall feels, maybe even some reds and things like that, you can add some of these different colors. We can use burlap to do some of our embellishing. We can also use mesh. You could use tulle. There's lots of different things. If you were with me a couple months ago, we did a really cool patriotic burlap wreath. And I said during that class that we can keep reusing the same burlap wreath over and over again. So I'm going to be using a lot of the same techniques as that one. And we basically have one spotlight color in each one of these rings. And so you can just leave all the burlap pieces in the other spaces and just change out the spotlight. So instead of it being red, white, and blue, you can change out the spotlight or the highlight color and change them to some oranges and some yellows, and you can have a Thanksgiving wreath instead of a patriotic wreath. And then if you are ready to move into Christmas, like it sounds like a lot of you watching today don't want to talk about Christmas yet until it's time. So then with yours, you can also think about some reds and things. So after Thanksgiving is over, you can take out those portions and maybe put in some pops of red, some pops of blue. I found this, it is time for Christmas in Michael's already, and I found this amazing blue velvet ribbon the other day. So pretty, this like turquoisey teal kind of color. We have some colors that are like pinks and blues, so a little bit non-traditional colors for Christmas too that just make it extra fun. So it can last longer because maybe it doesn't say exactly what holiday it is. All right, I have done a little bit of math for you because that's kind of my thing. And I'll show you what I figured out for you. So when we have our wreath, I told you that there are 9 different sections, and each one of these 9 sections, we're going to put pipe cleaners into, and they're going to grab clusters of burlap, and then we're going to put those clusters of burlap together to kind of fill out the whole entire wreath. So each one of the 3 sections we're going to do is going to have 3 pipe cleaners. So we're going to do 2 up here and 1 down here. And the one that's not in the same place as the other 2 is going to be the highlight color, or where we put our accent of color. So I'll show you as we put that around, but hopefully you were able to get some pipe cleaners. The ones I suggested for today have 4 different colors in this pack, and I will be kind of using the 4 different colors on purpose. There's a really beautiful light color, so I highly recommend that one. I've already used it because I have a couple of these in process. So I'm going to be using the dark brown, but go ahead and use your light brown whenever I'm talking about brown, and you can do that. I'm also going to use some gray, and I'm going to use some white, and we're going to set up the base, and then I'm going to show you how to add the burlap, and then we're going to go that one last step and make the bow and put it all together to make our burlap wreath. So when you have this 18-inch wreath, a lot of times there is an upside and a downside. If it scoops at all, put the scoop towards the table or towards the door when you're hanging it. So if it scoops, you want it to scoop away from the door. You don't want it to scoop towards the door. So I have it this direction. I have a tag right here. So I know that this might be the top or the bottom of my wreath. So I can go ahead and take that tag off. And I'm going to go and use the full pipe cleaner. And I'm going to start with a white pipe cleaner. And the white pipe cleaner is going to come into play later when I show you that that is the beginning. So there are 4 rings, and I'm going to take the outer 2 rings of one of these sections, and I'm going to twist this pipe cleaner very close to the base. So I took the white pipe cleaner across the 2 outermost rings, and I went through. This is what the back looks like. I just pulled it through those 2, and I twisted it just maybe once to kind of close it here and leave those like little antennas sticking up. Then I'm going to take a gray one, and my gray is going to go in the inner 2 rings towards me, and I'm going to twist that. Now I'm going to move to my brown. So you should be using your light brown, and you're going to go to the outer 2. So what we've done is we have 2 on the outside and 1 on the inside. And since the one on the inside is by itself, it's special, and it has the gray pipe cleaner because that's where we're going to put our accent of color. So now when we go to the next section, since we left off with the outermost, we're going to put our light brown in the innermost. And then our gray is going to go on the outside this time for the accent of color. And then we're going to put our brown on the 2 innermost. And because there are 9 sections, we're going to go all the way around. And the reason why I started with a white is because you're also going to end with a white. And then you'll know where to put the bow at the end of your burlap wreath, because you'll know that the white is indicating the top of your hoop and where everything goes. And also because there are 9 sections, the pattern ends up, so 2 white ones will be right next to each other up here in order to complete that whole circular pattern. So know that that's what's going to happen. You're going to go around, and notice we put 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside. And then we had 2 on the inside, 1 on the outside. So it just keeps repeating back and forth through each one of these sections. And because there's 9 sections and there are 3 pipe cleaners in each section, that means we have 27 pieces. Now I'm going to show you what I mean by the white ending up in the same place. So when I did my overlapping or did my pattern over and over again, when I got to the section right before the end, I ended up with 2 in the outermost ring and 1 on the innermost ring. And so because that happened, you end up with 2 white pieces here at the top. This is actually going to be great because when we put our bundles right here, there's going to be space for us to put our bow. So this actually ends up working out really nicely for us. Now you'll also notice that in each one of the brown sections, I started to put some of these bundles of burlap. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to cut the burlap and how to make these bundles of burlap. And then I'm going to finish up filling in the burlap with you. And then we're going to talk about accents. And so far I've left all of my gray sections blank because I haven't filled in any of the accent color. That's why you don't see any yellows or any oranges yet, because I'm just going through the brown pipe cleaners and putting in bundles of burlap for that base. All right, so now to the cutting. You're going to want a ruler. Now you don't necessarily need the same ruler that I have. You can just use a normal school ruler, but you want something that goes up to 8 inches because when we're going to be measuring our burlap, we are going to be cutting 8-inch sections. So this burlap, like I showed you before, is a loose weave, and there's 30 feet of it, which is great because that's going to be able to give us 45 pieces of burlap, each a little bit less than 8 inches. And then 45 is a perfect number to fit onto our wreath. So you're going to measure out the burlap, and I'm going to find where the 8 inches are, but I'm going to go a little less than 8 inches each time. And it's fine that it's folded. It's fine if it's a little bit wrinkly. All of that ends up being just fine because we're going to crinkle it eventually anyway. So this part's going to take a little bit of time, and you're just going to cut 8-inch sections and make a big pile of them. I do recommend that each time cutting a little bit less than the 8 inches. Don't go over the 8 inches because if you go over the 8 inches, you're not going to have enough to fill out your whole entire wreath. If you don't have 2 rolls of burlap, I recommend even going smaller, maybe even with just 6 inches instead of 8, so that you can get enough pieces to be able to fill in all your pipe cleaners. So I'm just going a little bit before the 8 inches each time, maybe around 7.5, and I'm making a stack of these. I would keep going through and I would cut through one whole entire roll of burlap. And then if I have my second roll of burlap, I'm going to show you how we can use that to make some really nice finishes on our wreath too. So for now, I already have a big stack of these cut. So I don't need to take all the time right now to show me cutting every single one of these. I will show you what we're going to do with them. So once you have these, each of the 9 sections has 2 bundles of burlap and 1 accent color. And in each one of the 2 bundles of burlap, I'm going to take a piece of burlap, and I call this a burrito fold, where you fold over one side and fold over the other side and just have a little bit of overlap. And you're going to pinch the center like this to make almost like a cute little burlap bow. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, where I'm going to fold this burlap into thirds. And I'm going to pinch it at the center. And this is one bundle of 2 slices of burlap. And each one of these bundles of 2 goes in any of the brown pipe cleaner sections. So when you find a good brown pipe cleaner section like this one, let me clear this off so you can see it a little better. I'm going to take the bundle and I'm going to put it in between the 2 pieces of the pipe cleaner that are sticking out. And I'm just going to twist them as close and as tight as I can to kind of secure that burlap bundle and still leave these sticking out. Now, what's nice about these light brown pipe cleaners is that they definitely match the burlap a lot better than the black or the white or the other colors. We can still hide the other colors and you won't be able to see them, but it's really nice that this one blends in so well. So then you see I have another section that needs a burlap bundle right here. So I take another piece, burrito fold it, pinch it in the middle, burrito fold it, and pinch it in the middle. Now I have my next bundle, and this next bundle is going to go in this next brown section. Now the white sections, when you get to your white pipe cleaners, those are burlap bundles. They're not accent colors, but they're white, showing us that that's the top and that there's going to be a chunk and there's going to be a space right here for you to put your bow so that you can have that nice bow in the center. So I do have a couple more of the brown bundles and the white bundles that I'm going to quickly do. And if you have any questions while I'm doing these bundles, now would be a great time for me to answer some of those. So go ahead and stick any questions you might have so far in the chat, and I'll see if I can help you. I'm also curious if any of you have bought any of the supplies to make your own and what colors you've decided to use. Are you going to go for oranges, yellows, reds, greens? What are you going for? And I'm only twisting this about once. I'm not twisting it a lot when I'm putting this in, because I'm still going to attach some other things into these pipe cleaners. So I still want plenty of pipe cleaner to play around with. Now I'm at the white sections at the top. Burrito fold and pinch. Burrito fold and pinch. And put those into one of the white sections. And burrito fold, pinch, burrito fold, pinch, and into the last white section. So what we have so far is the base of our burlap wreath, and this can be the base of any holiday. So there is nothing so far, and this same base can go through Christmas, it can go through Halloween, it can go through Thanksgiving, it can go through Easter, it can go through St. Patrick's Day, and all you need to do to change it out is when we get to the gray pipe cleaners, we're going to add our accents of color, and those accents of color are going to help transform it into a different holiday for us. So I'm going to be using some oranges, and you can also use ribbon. So I have ribbon that I'm keeping to the side for my bow, but if you have any other ribbon, especially wired ribbon, I really like a thin ribbon. So this one is 1.5 inches. And if I cut just about 6 inches of it, I can kind of twist it like this and make something kind of fun that would help accent. So when I'm doing any of the accent bundles, which on my wreath is going to be the gray, I'm going to put one piece of burlap and then I'm going to put 2 pieces of accent. So it can be 2 of the same accent, it can be 2 different, it can be a large piece of mesh, it can be a piece of burlap that's a different color, it can be a ribbon, it can even be tulle if you have tulle. So if you want to use the mesh, what I recommend with the mesh is that it comes a lot longer. So you don't need to cut it very wide because you already have a lot of length. So I would say that probably about 4 inches of your mesh is all you're going to need. And if you want to go ahead and cut them all at the same time, remember there's 9 accent portions. So you're going to want to cut 9 accents of mesh. I also have another mesh that has some oranges and whites. So if you want to go in that direction, you can. If you have some navy blues, if you have some reds, whatever it is that you like, you can add those in. Four, 5. And this is a really nice project to do with somebody else. It's one that doesn't require a ton of skill, but it's something that you can do and chit chat at the same time, and you don't have to concentrate that hard. So if two of you are working on this together, maybe mother-daughter thing, or two friends, or father-daughter, whoever you want to craft with, you can do it together. Let's see how many I have now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Great. And then if I want another accent color, if I want a navy blue, if I want ribbon, whatever it is that you want to add to it, maybe this orange ribbon, I would cut 9 of those as well. Enough of this one, I don't think I do. All right, so before I put in these accents, I'm going to take a moment and we're going to do a little bit of bow making. So we're going to do our large bow. And the reason why I'm taking the time to do the large bow now is because if we have any extra ribbon on this spool, you can always use the ribbon as some of your accent also. So you can keep that in mind. So there's a question in the chat that says, are you alternating the direction of the bundles as you attach them? And that's a great question. It's kind of up to you, but when I put them in, like especially with this yellow that's going to be a little bit longer, I'm going to kind of twist the yellow a little bit like that, almost like a little firecracker. And I'm going to kind of like hot dog it into the burlap. And then when I place it, I'm going to place them all long ways along the wreath. I'm not going to place them up and down, if that makes sense to you. So even when they're on the outside, I'm still going to place them long ways to kind of go with the direction of the wreath. So that's what I'm going to do, but you're welcome to make up new patterns by trying and alternating them in different ways too. So we're going to make our large bow next. And this is sometimes the hardest part for people because bow making is not that simple, but it is really fun. And once you get the hang of it, you can save yourself so much money because bows can be expensive. And once you buy a roll of ribbon and you can make your own, you're going to save yourself a ton. So I do also have a class that I've already taught before about bow making. So I give several different ways to make bows. So that might be one that you want to go back to the Michael's YouTube channel and check out and see if that one is right for you. And if you are feeling confused, that's something you can definitely go back and see right now. I'm looking for my ruler where I may have hidden it from myself. That wasn't very nice. Here it is. Okay, so we're going to be making what's called a pom-pom bow. And the most important part of the bow making is the fact that the ribbon is wired, because the ribbon being wired is what's going to be able to give it some really nice shape. If it's not wired, it's always going to go flat. So keep that in mind. When I'm starting my bow, I'm going to make a loop. So I'm always going to be gathering towards my thumb. So I'm going to make a loop and I'm going to gather towards my thumb. I take the end, pull it towards my thumb. And just for reference, this is about 5 inches. This loop is about 5 inches. So then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to basically match it. So again, you can kind of lay it down next to your ruler, or you can compare them to each other and make sure that you've kind of matched it. The extra at the very beginning is kind of overlapping right here and it's just hiding, which is fine. So far I have 2 loops that are about 5 inches and I'm just holding them with my thumb in the center. Now I'm going to make another loop on this side, maybe just slightly smaller, almost the same size. Maybe this is about 4.5 inches. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm continuing to gather in the middle. And I'm going to take this side and I'm going to fold a loop in towards my thumb again. And you really got to kind of be rough with the ribbon and make it do what you want it to do. That's why it's got that wire in there, because it will bend the way you want it to bend and it will fluff the way you want it to fluff because of that extra wire. I'm going to do one more set of loops. So here's another loop, a little bit bigger again. And here's another loop. to match that, everything holding in the center. And they look pretty symmetric on both sides. So I can cut this. And I'm going to take one of my extra pipe cleaners, one of my white pipe cleaners, but it really doesn't matter what color. And where I've gathered this all, I'm going to twist it very tight. And then I'm going to split those two pieces of pipe cleaner open. And there's a reason for that, because now I'm going to cut a tail. So I think my tail, you definitely want to double it because you want two sides to your tail. So I'm going to cut about 40 inches. So I have 20 and 20 to be my tail. And then what's going to happen is this part that you can see the pipe cleaner and you can kind of see what I was doing with my bow. We're going to cover that up with this extra bit. And we're going to cover that up nicely. If you want to kind of fold this in half or fold it over to make it a little thinner, you can. And then I'm going to tie it on the back where my white pipe cleaner is. So this is just half of a double knot. And I'm pulling that nice and tight, making sure that that has a nice, cute little front to it. And I'm going to finish tying the double knot. And now I have these two tails. These pieces of pipe cleaner are going to remain because that's where we're going to attach it where the other white portions are on our burlap wreath, so that we can have this nice bow. Use the wire, put your fingers into the loops and kind of spread them out, fluff them up, put them where you want them. And you have a really nice bow that's ready to go onto your burlap wreath. So there are other styles and other ways to make these. I have a little bit of an extra piece that's kind of hanging out here. You can either tuck it with your pipe cleaners, or I'm going to cut it down just a little bit more. And then with my tails, I like to give them what's called a dovetail. So here's the front of my bow, and here are the two pieces that are going to come down like the tails. I'm going to stack these on top of each other. And to make a dovetail, you take the piece of ribbon and you fold it in half so all the wires are on the same side. And when you cut it, you want the wires to be on the outside and you want the triangle to go away from the wires like this. Here's the wires, here's my triangle. And then when I open that up, I have a really nice dovetail. So this is going to be a really pretty bow to put at the top of my burlap wreath, and I'm going to be able to do that. So now I'll go back to putting the burlap in, and I'll show you how to attach this bow to finish, and we'll do our accent colors. So let me know if you have any questions, and we'll keep going on this together. So one of the things we will do at the end is we will tuck all of these behind and hide them, but we still have some more work to do before we're ready to do that. So with our accents, we are going to take our accent colors and one piece of burlap and put them into each of the gray sections. So I do happen to have some extra orange, and I do like this color. So I think I might cut some strips of orange to put into my accent as well. Let's see if I can get 9, because I made 2 bows out of this already. I might be able to. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Perfect. So I'm going to use these in my accent clusters with my yellow, and I'm going to put one piece of burlap in each one. So I find a gray section, and I'm going to twist up the yellow like I was kind of showing you before. And I'm going to have my piece of burlap that's burritoed in. Kind of sandwich that. And then maybe also have this orange bit of ribbon. And because it's wired, we can kind of play with it and twirl it and do different things with it, which is fun. And then each of these accent sections is going to go into one of the gray pieces. It came on off my wreath, but now I got it. Beautiful. All right, so we have 9 of these colorful bundles. So again, you can tell that this really transforms the look of this particular burlap wreath. If I would have chosen dark blues, it would change the whole feel again. If I would have chosen some reds, it could change the whole feel. If you do reds, then maybe you're just going to need to change 1 or 2 more things in order to change it into Christmas too, so you can keep that in mind. But whatever you choose, just go ahead and go for it. Twisting up these accent pieces, putting them into little hot dog buns, and adding that little bit of orange, which I think is really cute. And noticing that the gray sections alternate. So they go from inside to outside and inside to outside. So that gives you a nice placement of those accent colors. So I'm going to keep going. And let me know if you have any questions. Hot dog. I like this orange wired ribbon a lot. I think that's really going to add some cool touch. Finding all my gray. I've done this before with the pipe cleaners, but I've never done it with the color coding. And honestly, I think the color coding helps me. So I hope that it helps you too in finding where all those special sections are. Here's the next one on the outside. I like the way this is already shaping up. And that burlap mesh being a little bit longer, I like how that pokes out a bit. I think that adds some extra depth and dimension to our wreath, which is pretty. And sometimes with the burlap, it does get a little bit raggedy. So I am going to show you one more technique to kind of smooth it all over at the end. So stay tuned for after I finish these 9 sections. I'm going to show you one more technique to try before we add on our bow. Sandwich it. And there we go. So I would love for you to check out my personal Instagram, which is 4M Coleman. And you can kind of see all the different activities that I've been up to. I had a big October crafting finale last night where a bunch of the different October classes that I was teaching kind of came together for my trick-or-treating experience. I had some wood burnings, little coffins that I put candy into. I had some Beetlejuice pumpkins I made. I had some crochet pumpkins that I made. I had a whole finale of all of the different crafts that I've been making in October, which was really fun to kind of see them all come together. And coming up soon, we'll be doing card making. So starting today, November 1st, we have the 12 days of card making, which means for the next 12 days, we're going to show you 12 different techniques on how to make your own holiday cards. I don't think it's too early to start holiday cards because you do need to get those ready before Christmas. So I recommend coming to those 12 classes. I'll be teaching 3 of them next week, and we'll be learning a couple of different techniques, including a 3-part stencil. We'll use some diamond art, and we'll do a big pad of paper and just show you a lot of quick and easy cards that you can make too. So those are the 3 that I'm doing, but there are lots of other card making classes coming up. So feel free to check that out. at michaels.com/classes. And all of those videos will be available on YouTube as well. Ooh, I am loving this wreath so far. It is giving me Thanksgiving, cornucopia. I love it. So now that I have this, I can see these are my white pipe cleaners and this is the top. I want to show you one more technique to kind of make it a little smoother. When you have your other roll of burlap, I'm not going to cut a long piece, but I'm going to use a long piece and I'm going to kind of go back and kind of flow through to give you a little bit more of an elegant look so it doesn't get so raggedy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of burlap and I'm going to put it into the first white pipe cleaner. And then I'm going to go to each of the gray pipe cleaners. So I'm going to go to the 9 spots and go around. And I'm not doing anything special. I'm just kind of leaving a bubble of this burlap and twisting it, going to the next gray one and twisting it. Going to the next gray. And see how this is kind of like making a smoother kind of look to everything so that the accent colors can pop out behind it or around it, but we still have kind of a smooth look to our burlap, a little bit more polished of a finish. Coming over here, I'm just going to each one of those gray pipe cleaners and twisting it in. And already the gray pipe cleaners alternate for us inside outside, which is nice. Looking good. If you are able to make a wreath, I'd love to see it. So feel free to follow us on Learn with Michaels and use the hashtag Learn with Michaels to show off your finished project so that everybody can see and we could share it with everyone. So it's nice after you have all your bundles done to know about how much burlap you have to work with. So if you can leave it poofier or if you need to leave it a little bit flatter, you kind of know what you're working with and what you have left to fix that and finish that off. But I'm just kind of making some little baubles with this extra bit of burlap that's still on the roll that I didn't cut off. Looking good. And our last 2 steps are going to be to hide the pipe cleaners and to add the bow. And then we're going to be just about finished. So I do think some of the cutting and things that I skipped over today will take you a little bit of time. And feel free to take as long as you want with all of these and make them as perfect as you want. But you can see that in an hour, we got a lot accomplished. So I would say this total project would be about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Once you have all your supplies, then you do your cutting and your measuring, and then you'll be good to go. Oh, I passed the white pipe cleaners. No one stopped me. I was on a roll. Thank goodness I had those white pipe cleaners to stop me, so I knew I went all the way around. There we go. Just gonna back that up a little bit. And I'm gonna go into this top pipe cleaner. So I started at this one and I'm finishing at this one. And then I can cut this off the rest of the spool. There we go. All right, so the hiding of the pipe cleaners, I sometimes like to do this in my lap, so it might be a little harder doing on my table, but we'll see. Each one of the pipe cleaners is going to end up coming to the back. So I can go through all 27 of these and bring the pipe cleaners to the back, and you might want to twist them to keep them at the back. Now, if this is going against a door, then you definitely want to push these back down so that they don't scratch up a door or something like that. Or you can put a little piece of felt behind the whole entire thing so that you don't leave any scratches. But The goal is to get each one of these pipe cleaners to come around the back so that you won't be able to see them. And I'm going to flip it over in just a second to show you what I'm doing on the other side. Find the other side. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to turn this over and show you what I'm doing to hide these. So here's a gray pipe cleaner that you might still be able to see. And then in that case, you're just going to kind of use the material that's available and kind of hide over those pieces that are still showing. I haven't tucked these yet, but you almost can't see them because of the colors. So I'm going to take the time to tuck some more of these, and then I'm going to attach the bow. So you're just trying to get all the pipe cleaner pairs to be in the back of the wreath rather than in the front. And then if any of the pipe cleaner is showing, we can just kind of twist around the burlap and fluff things out in order to hide any of those colorful pipe cleaners especially. I'll get a couple more of these and then I'm going to add on that bow. And then I'm going to take a finished picture when I get all the fluffing and all of these hidden, and I'll be posting that on my Instagram, which is the number 4M Coleman. So you can check that picture out, and feel free, like I said before, to tag us at Learn with Michael so that we can see what you've made. I would love to see that. And I'm curious what colors you might be using and what accents you've decided to go with on yours. Okay. So if you can see anything left over, tuck them, keep tucking towards the back, keep fluffing the burlap over. You have bundles, so the bundles can kind of be poofed out as well in order to hide any of those pipe cleaners that might still be showing. Here are my two white pieces. So that's where my bow is about to go. I created the bow and I have the extra pieces of wire on my bow. So here are the two pieces. I'm doing this upside down just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to take the two pieces of the bow and I'm going to go through the center green piece right here. I'll flip it over and show you. And once I've secured that into the place by twisting those pipe cleaners, I'm going to take some time and fluff everything. Love it. This is looking really great. We have our dovetail. We have our bow. You can fluff all those loops of the bow to really make it high impact. And I love that. How about you? I'll keep hiding these. And then I think if you have any questions, now would be a good time. I think we're wrapping it up. So if there's anything left, let me know. But I have had a great time making this burlap wreath with you. I love those accent colors. And remember that you can use this same wreath and take out the accent colors, add in red, add in blue, add in whatever colors you want to for your next holiday, and keep using that base over and over again. So my name's Megan. I work for Michaels. This is our burlap wreath. So I hope you enjoyed this class, and I do hope you come back and craft with us again. Bye.